Good evening. I'm Steve from UCAN English Tutoring. I wish you all a very happy new year, and I hope this year brings success to all your goals, including the ones you have got for OET, IELTS, and PT academic examinations. To help you guys out prepare well for your examination and pass your exams in your first attempt itself, I'm introducing two new membership programs in addition to the existing ones. There is a diamond membership program which is going to be charged only at about $79.99 per month, which is going to be approximately 4,200 to 4,500 Indian rupees, with which you will be able to access all the live session videos on my YouTube channel. I mean, you will be able to receive the step-by-step strategies, for reading, listening, writing, and speaking subtests of OET, IELTS, and PT academic examinations with just $79.99. You should be able to smash your OET examination in your first attempt itself. The good thing about this membership program is that you can access all my sessions whenever and wherever you want. So you can watch those sessions, you can make notes as well, and then you should be able to pass your OET, IELTS, and PT academic examination in your first attempt itself. If you wish to get more benefits from me, you can also become a platinum member, which is going to be charged at $149.99 per month, which is going to be approximately 8,000 to 8,500 Indian rupees. This gives you access to all the live videos. Plus, I'm going to provide you the assessment of 3 speaking and 3 writing mock tests as well. When you become a diamond or a platinum member, you will be able to see all the videos that are going to be recorded in my classroom so that you can get the maximum benefits out of these things. Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Steve from UCAN English Tutoring. In this video, I'm going to assess one of my students' OET letter word by word and provide the assessment against each criteria and finally the overall score for this letter. Let's start the assessment now. I think that's the second page. Okay, let's go through the first page. That's the first page. And the student has written down the date on the top, which is good. And then the student has written on the addressee's contact details. That is Miss Susanna Bates, the senior nurse, Abrina Nursing Home, 19 to 21 Victoria Street, Ashfield, New South Wales 2131. She copied all the details from the writing task section. Okay, and she didn't commit any spelling mistakes. I hope. We will go through the case notes once we go through this letter first. Okay, so she has written on the addressee's detail after that. This is the addressee's salutations or dear Miss Bates. That is correct because we need to use the same prefix and she has done the same thing here. And then she used the surname of the recipient. We need to understand one thing, that we have to use only the surname of the recipient when we write down the salutation. Okay, we shouldn't write down, the first name or the, the full name. We shouldn't write down any of them. Okay, so you have to write down dear Miss Bates only, comma. That's good. And then she has written on the reference details of the patient, that is regarding Mr. Benjamin, comma, aged 63. That's good. I'm happy with this as well. And then she has written on the introduction paragraph, that is, I am writing to update the current health status of Mr. Benjamin, who underwent total hip replacement. Perfect. Replacement surgery. Okay, that's perfect. Good, I'm happy with that. He requires ongoing care and management from your facility, and he is being discharged today. Excellent. So this introduction paragraph is amazing. It has been ticking off all the key assessment criteria, and I think if she writes the same way, she is going to ace the OET writing subtest like a pro. Let's go to the next paragraph. So Mr. Benjamin was admitted to hospital for the surgery. No, surgery never ever need the in front of that. I mean, you shouldn't write down the surgery, but you need to mention surgery alone. Otherwise, if you are going to mention the same surgery which was previously mentioned, then you can mention like this: the aforementioned surgery. So in this case, we can write it down. But remember that The should not go immediately in front of surgery. That is wrong. Okay, which means the surgery is incorrect. This is incorrect. But you can use, the aforementioned surgery, the above mentioned surgery, and so on. That is fine. Okay, I hope you understand what I mean. All right, let's continue now. Okay, what else? Okay, so for the surgery with the high blood pressure, okay, that's all right. Submitted for surgery with the high blood pressure, that's okay. Post-operatively, he experienced disorientation due to anesthetic medication. That is absolutely fine. In addition, his hemoglobin level dropped. Okay, there is a spelling mistake for dropped. It should have double P. Unfortunately, she wrote only one P, and that's not good. Okay, she wrote dropped, so this is wrong. You should write down DROPPED. This is the correct spelling. I'm going to check even the spelling mistakes. I'm going to verify everything so that you will be able to increase the chances of passing the OET writing subtest. Let's continue now. What else she has written on there? Or I think we are here somewhere. No, that's in the second page. Okay, sorry about that. So his hemoglobin level dropped to 7.2. Therefore, 3 units. Okay, so this is wrong. Why? Because you can write down like this. So 7.2, therefore, this is not good. You should mention like this. So 7.2, and as a result, or you can write down like this, 7.2, and therefore, or you can write like this, 7.2, and as a consequence. Okay, so this is also good enough. So we have to ensure that we are going to write down the sentences correctly. Okay. All right, let's continue now. Where is that? It's not here, sorry. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and therefore, or and as a result, or and as a consequence, 3 units of packed red blood cells were transfused. That is amazing. She was able to use the passive voice form in her letter, which is really good, because we need to write down the formal letters. We have to ensure that whatever the language we are using is polite. It is going to give more respect, towards the reader. So the reader should be very happy. The reader needs to feel like, oh my God, this student has been valuing me like anything. All right, that's how the assessor needs to feel like. And if you can do this, you will be able to definitely pass. And then daily dressings. Okay, unfortunately, you have repeated the same word twice, and I assume you didn't proofread it properly. So daily dressings were provided to him. This is wrong. Okay, so you should write down the daily dressings once only, unfortunately. Okay, so what you have done is daily dressings is wrong. You should write down only daily dressings. That's it. Proofreading is critical. Why? Because it can find out some major errors which are actually preventing you from achieving your desired scores. Okay, you might have been struggling at maybe 280 or 290 in your OET writing subtest, and the reason could be this. I mean, you're not properly proofreading your mistakes. You're not properly proofreading your letter. I will be shortly uploading one video in regards to the proofreading, why it is so important that you have to proofread like, like an eagle, and why it is really critical even to find out the minor mistakes and rectify them as well. So I will be uploading a video shortly, but let's continue assessing this letter. Okay. Provided to him, that's all right. And on discharge, okay, he is stable and and his hemoglobin level reached normal range. Okay, that is fine. I'm happy with that. During hospitalization, Mr. Benjamin has been recommended for stretching exercise. That's good. Currently, he walks with the help of a wheelie walker. Okay, that's again, there is a spelling mistake. Unfortunately, you have been committing the same spelling mistake, so that's not good. All right, so you should say wheelie walker. That's what you have written on, wheelie and then hyphen and then walker. This is wrong. It should have WH E-E-L-I-E Walker. Okay, it's going to be E is missing here. See this one, this is going to be the spelling mistake. So E is missing. So it needs to be very careful. You have to read the letter carefully for a purpose. You don't need to just simply read it. It's not good. We have to read for a purpose. Okay, there is a purpose why we are spending some time to read each word and then each sentence. Proofreading needs to be done in two different aspects. One is the whole sentence needs to be proofread, and then each word needs to be proofread. So there are two things that you have to do. All right. To understand these things in detail, I'm going to arrange one session with my students, and I will also go upload the same video to my YouTube channel for my members. Okay. He was commenced on aspirin 100 milligram. That's good. Ramipril, 5 milligram, and Panadine Forte 6 tablets per day, which requires to be continued. Okay, that's good. I'm happy with these things. She was able to write down using the appropriate language. Let's continue with the second page now. Okay, so that's the second page. It would be greatly appreciated if you could provide continued care for Mr. Benjamin. Please note that hospital is providing. You can use, please note that the hospital is providing. So instead of saying, please note that hospital is providing, you can say, please note that the hospital is providing. Okay, so it's good to use the hospital because we have already mentioned hospital. So when we have to refer to the same item in English, we have to use the article called the in front of the same. Okay, so the hospital is providing a wheelie walker. Again, unfortunately, there's a spelling mistake. And this is not the first time you are committing the same mistake. It is, I think, a couple of times you have been committing the same mistakes. Wheelie always has an E at the end of wheelie. Okay, so that's going to be the correct spelling. So one of the ways to overcome these mistakes is that whenever you commit any spelling mistakes, try to write down the correct spelling at least for 50 times or 100 times or even 200 times or even 1000 times. So you need to ensure that you spell the words correctly. And one of the negative things is that these words are spelled in the case notes as well. So most of the times you may be able to copy the spelling from there and then place it here. Sometimes you need to be mindful about the spelling of the words in the case notes as well, because they may incorrectly spell the words in the case notes as well. So you need to be mindful about that. But that's the correct spelling. You got to write down WHEELIE-Walker. Okay, and the wedge below, that is fine. Kindly ensure that a toilet riser has been hired for 2 weeks from a local medical supplier. Unfortunately, this toilet riser has been already hired by a local medical supplier for 2 weeks. So we should not mention that. Kindly ensure that. This is wrong. We should say, and you shouldn't place a comma as well. Kindly note that. That is the appropriate one. So what you have written on here is incorrect. So don't say kindly ensure that and then there is a comma. You should mention kindly note that a toilet riser has been hired. All right, so you need to ensure that you convey the information correctly. Okay, so the meaning needs to be maintained throughout your letter. You can't just write a sentence for the sake of writing a letter. That's not good. All right, that is going to damage your score, and that's really bad. Encourage him to perform. Again, remember that you should not start a sentence with the verb only, because this is going to be impolite. I mean, it sounds like a rude behavior, and the assessor will not be happy. The receiver is going to be angry because you have not been using the phrases like, please encourage him, kindly encourage him, or so on. Okay, in other words, you can use perhaps the passive voice in order to improve your writing skills, and you can show more politeness as well in order to convey the same information. So it is better to put, please encourage him in the worst case. Remember that the active voice is not recommended. However, you can use maybe a few in a few sentences, but you can use, please encourage him. At least this one is going to be somewhat polite. Okay, instead of writing down encourage him, which sounds like an order, you are placing an order against the assessor. You're telling the assessor that, hey, do this. So this is not good, isn't it? You have to say, could you please do this? Could you please perform? Or could you please do that? And so on. So this is how we need to request, okay? So this is not good. We have to ensure that we use the passive form as much as you can, and achieve the better score over there. So encourage him to perform stretching exercises, arrange and follow up. Okay, remember that arrange and follow up is not good. Okay, arrange and follow up. Why unfollow up is not correct? Well, and needs to be used only before a word that starts with a vowel sound. So what you have written on here is not good, because follow up is not going to be one of the sounds from the vowels. No, that's a different sound, and as a result you shouldn't write arrange and. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. Okay, all right. And requires to do blood tests. Okay, this is not good. Why? Because there is no subject. Where is the subject here? Where is the subject? So you should say he requires to undergo blood test. At least if you write like this, it is going to be grammatically correct. Although it is in the active voice form, it is at least grammatically correct. But unfortunately, the one that you have written down now is incorrect. Okay, and requires to do blood tests for fasting blood sugar, electrolytes, urea and creatinine are vital. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. So the problem is you started writing the sentences in the active voice here, but again you started writing down the passive form in the end, and that's not good. So what you should have done is you should have mentioned like this: encouraging him to perform stretching exercises and arranging a follow-up. Okay, you can say arranging a follow-up appointment for blood tests, for fasting blood sugar, electrolytes, and urea and creatinine are vital. That is going to be much better. Okay, so otherwise, this one is not good. So instead of that, you can say he requires to do, he requires to undergo. So instead of that, instead of writing down and requires, it's good to mention and he requires. Okay, and he requires to do. Instead of saying to do, it's better to say to undergo. All right, to participate in or to undergo in, undergo and so on. So to undergo blood test for fasting blood sugar, electrolytes, urea and creatinine are vital. So this are vital can be removed. So are vital can be removed if you're writing down the active voice. So remove this phrase, please. Okay, that's going to be the active voice, but it is still okay because you already started using the active voice. So I have corrected this sentence based on the active voice form only. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Yours sincerely, the charge nurse. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy with the remaining things, but firstly we need to go through the case notes and identify whether you have included all the relevant case notes as well. So let me assess your letter against all the assessment criteria first, before I can give you the score. So the first thing is, unfortunately, grammar is really bad and spelling is another issue. Spelling, you have committed 3 spelling mistakes, which is really bad. Okay, spelling is an area of concern. I'm really concerned about your spelling mistake because you have committed 3 spelling mistakes, which are quite easy to spell. Okay, those words are quite easy to spell. And the other issue is grammar. Grammar is another area of improvement. I would like you to be a bit mindful regarding the use of nouns, verbs, tenses, and so on. You have been mixing up the active and the passive form in your sentences, which is not good. When you want to write down an active sentence, it's okay, just go for it. Yeah, don't commit the spelling mistakes, don't commit any issues. Okay, don't mix the passive form with your active form. That's not good. Connectivity could have been a bit better. The reason is that you didn't use and therefore, so connectivity could have been a bit better. It isn't that bad actually, but the connectivity could have been a bit better. Vocabulary needs to be improved as well, because you need to use more, as you need to use more formal phrases. You have to use the formal phrases instead of saying, encourage to do something, try to use, kindly encourage or please encourage, or instead of saying, arrange something, you can use maybe please arrange something, and so on. So those things are quite helpful, if you can do them. And the other thing is, use of nouns, verbs, articles, prepositions. So use of articles, verbs, prepositions, tenses needs to be improved as well. So we need to ensure that we are going to use all these things appropriately. If you commit mistakes, that's not going to be helpful to you. Okay. Use of a wide variety of sentences, such as simple, complex, and compound, is fine, but do not commit mistakes. Okay, but please avoid the mistakes. You write down, the longer sentences or a wide range of sentence structures, it is critical that you avoid the mistakes, please. Okay, that's an important aspect. And the organization of your letter is okay, it's good. All right, it is good. Presentation features and layout are good as well. Presentation and layout are good enough, but the spelling could have been improved a lot, as I previously mentioned. All right, overall task fulfillment is also good enough. I'm happy with that. Let me check, whether you have included all the relevant case notes or not. I'm going to check the case notes now. Okay, so that's the writing task. Using the information in the case notes, write a letter to Miss Susanne Bates, senior nurse at Aberina Nursing Home, 19 to 21, Victoria Street, Ashfield, New South Wales 2131, who will be responsible for Benjamin's continued care at the nursing home. Okay, so this person is going to go to the nursing home, and this senior nurse is going to provide the continued care. But I saw that this person is actually residing in that same place, I believe. Give me 1 second, let me go through that. Yes, lives in Aberina Nursing Home. So this means the recipient already knows this patient, so you should not include any social background or medical history. And I hope you didn't include that. I believe you didn't include that. Okay, so let's go through the remaining things now. All right, so that's done. Okay, all right, so you have included you didn't include anything here. That's good, I'm happy with that. And this is fine, you have included that. Discharge date, that's all right. This is the diagnosis, that is also good enough. I have one recommendation. So instead of writing down total hip replacement surgery, you can just simply mention total hip replacement, because total hip replacement itself is a surgery. Okay, is surgery, so you don't need to mention that. And higher BP, that's okay, that's fine. So we don't need to include anything from the social background, as well as hobbies and the medical background. So medications are needed because these are the current ones, and you have included them already. I'm happy with that. And we're going to go through the remaining things, like a nursing management progress, Ramipril 5 mg, that's all right. Dressing daily, recommended stretching exercises, follow BFBE and UEC test. And you have already mentioned that as well. I'm happy with that. And the assessment, that's fine. You have included this, walks with the aid in the beginning, but now walks perfectly with wheelie walker. That's good. And see this one, even in the case notes, they have written down the correct spelling, isn't it? So WHEELIE-walker. So when we copy the spelling of the words from the case notes, we need to be really mindful. Remember that if you do not spell the words from the case notes, it shows that you are careless. Okay, and it is going to make a negative impression, from the assessor's point of view, and that's not good, because it will have a negative impact on your score. Okay, and see this one, this HB dropped. Unfortunately, you have copied almost all the same words. Okay, that's not good post-operatively. Okay, I mean, dropped can be declined or decreased. Okay, reduced. You could have used some kinds of synonyms as well. And yeah, unfortunately, that's not really good. HB normal on discharge, that's okay. Pain reliever given, recommended Panadol. Okay, that's all right. Panadol 4, and exercise recommended, equipment recommended. That's all right. Wheelie walker, toilet raiser, hospital is providing wheelie walker and wedge pillow. Level of it's already hired. See this one. So don't say kindly ensure that it is going to be hired. It's not hired, it's already hired. You need to ask, the other person to understand that this is already hired. Okay, but the way you are conveying the information wasn't up to the mark, isn't it? You are trying to misinterpret the case notes in your letter, and it is a no, which means you should not do this, please. Apart from that, it's all good enough. I'm happy with the way that you have been doing. So your vocabulary has been limited because you have been repeating the same words. You have been repeating the same words from the case notes instead of using their synonyms. Okay, that's one issue. All right, but apart from that, it's all good. So all relevant case notes were included. I'm happy with that. So that's all good enough. But you have misinterpreted one case note, as I mentioned. So it's better to, you have misinterpreted a case note in your letter, and that's not good. Okay, so you shouldn't commit the mistakes. Okay, because these things can damage your score under the overall task fulfillment. As a result, you may get less score. Okay. All right, let's go to the score now. What score can I give to this letter? That's going to be a tricky thing, isn't it? But definitely this letter is not going to get even C+ grade, unfortunately. I'm not fully convinced, with the letter that you have written down, because the use of articles is not up to the mark, and then the spelling mistake, as well as the connectors, and then that hospital. Okay, encourage him, because the language hasn't been polite. It has been impolite to some extent, so that those things could have been avoided as well. According to me, based on these mistakes and the issues with the case notes and everything, according to me, this one can get you perhaps 280 out of 500 maximum. All right, maximum. I would be very happy to give you 270 only, but yeah, this one can get you perhaps 280. But please understand that these are the major mistakes that you have to rectify. Otherwise, it would be a bit harder for us to improve your skills. Thank you so much. I hope this assessment has been helpful to you.